Welcome back to WagerTalk TV. This is another of our continuing series where you guys ask the questions, we answer them. And we've got a question. I'm joined by Bryan, Leonard, and Gianni, the Greek. You know him as VR Ace, my buddy. Guys, this is a good question, and this one comes from @GuyGiles_Logan. And he asked the question, what's the difference, guys, between playoff betting and regular season betting? I'll tip it to you guys. I'll say one thing. Obviously, when it gets to playoff time, the lines are tighter because, here we are. Everybody's playing. There's not the element of
motivation.
Who's resting? Does this game mean anything, this and that? They're all supposed to mean something now, and all hands on deck. But you also get more public money, I feel, playoff time than you do during the regular season. The NBA, I think, during the regular season is an afterthought. College basketball is the main focus. You might sign, the public can help drive the market. I know the other night, the public drove the market in the Houston-Golden State game, Game 4 in Houston. They were betting Golden State like there was no tomorrow. I happened to be at Red Rock that night. Playing poker and watching the games. I swear I was the only guy there rooting for Houston. Yeah, it was one of those things, and you saw the line actually cross. VR, I'll talk to you. I know you've got a lot of outs. Your guys, do they fire the same amount during the playoffs as they do during the regular season?
More, always. And personally, that's why I've had success in playoffs with sports. I feel most confident, even though it is the end of the year, and you would think the odds makers have such a big sample size of data, their lines should be the sharpest. Let's not forget, odds makers' job isn't to predict the game. Their job is to try to manage risk, and never is there more risk than during the playoffs because of the money at stake. And I know that sports books will tell you, they say all the right things. No, we don't. We just factor in the wise guys. That's all we care about, when we make our line. Listen, they're there, again, to manage risk. And we know two things move numbers other than injury, suspensions, stuff like that. It's respect. If your bet gets respect, if you're proving you're a long-term winner, they'll move the number when you bet. Or a ton of money. Bet enough money and they're going to move. And when it comes to the playoffs, rest assured, if they bet enough money in the Super Bowl, like they say, that's the only number during the year that the line's 100% aimed at the public. Why? The NFC Championship game, they didn't book a lot of money in that one? That, to me, is a ridiculous, concept. So I think when it comes to playoffs, because of that increase in limit, because of that influx of recreational money into the marketplace, it has to affect the betting line. It has to affect how they manage risk. So that offers more value for a sharp bettor that could find those inefficiencies. I love the playoffs.
Right?
I'm going to look at this from a little bit of an angle. In baseball, you have series every year. You have series in the playoffs. So I'm not going to include that. In football, it's so well known. Everybody knows everything about football because you're only playing 16 games a season in the NFL. So everybody knows they only play once a week. So the playoffs are very similar to that. I'm going to talk about basketball and hockey playoffs. You play 80, 82 games, whatever, during the season. A lot of people don't pay a lot of attention until they get to the playoffs. Once the games are on national TV, every single game, you're going to get people who normally don't spend a lot of time betting those sports.
So that's as unsophisticated. That's like people. That's Kentucky Derby money.
That's right. That's
right. I bet a horse race once a year money.
Yeah, those are the guys who want to have a bet on it because it's on TV. It's the main thing. Everybody's talking about it. Hockey and the NBA. Well, something you don't see during the regular season that you see in the playoffs is you may play a team and you don't see them again for 6 weeks in the NBA or in hockey. So adjustments cannot be made. Adjustments are made game to game in NBA and NHL hockey, and that's why the teams with the best coaches do well in those sports, especially the NBA. You always see the same coaches in the NBA playoffs just because they're very good and, Hockey is a little bit different because of the luck factor in hockey, but your changes from game to game. That's why one game, a team will win by 30 in the NBA playoffs. The next day, the other team will win by 30. It's just the way it is. It's coaches have the ability to make those day-to-day adjustments
on the
that
fly,
they don't have during the regular season.
And you talk about it, I know, one of the angles, I've used for years is for like a Monday night football game. If a team looks bad on Monday night football, everybody watched that game.
The microscope.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the eyes are on it, and everybody remembers the last thing they saw, and they make their bets accordingly. I always try to look at those teams that got embarrassed on Monday night because there's value with them. The market's gonna, inflate the number because the bookmakers know what everybody just saw, and you can find value with those teams. Same thing applies in the playoffs. Every game's on TV. These guys don't watch the games, but all of a sudden it's playoff time. They're watching the games. What you said, Bryan, with, we know the zigzag doesn't work anymore like it used to, but one of the areas where it does still have a winning edge is those ones where it's really hard to swallow the zigzag. A team got blown out, and there's no way they're turning the table here. That's the ones that seems like they find that way to make the adjustments. Because if you're one team and everything went well, what are you changing? You're not changing anything. It's the team
let's go do that again.
Yeah, it's the team that got drilled that's making the adjustments.
And I want to talk about also during the regular season, you and I do a lot of schedule handicapping.
Yep.
And you don't have that in the postseason because both teams are on the same schedule. During the regular season, you play your games at 4 games in 5 nights against a team that's rested, all that. So, which is one of the reasons why people look at how the teams matched up, like in the NBA
During the regular season.
Yeah. And that tells you nothing. It's totally
Wasn't it the Denver
overvalued.
Nuggets first series? They
Totally
had those
overvalued. Yeah. So. Much better chances to win in the playoffs if you're a very good
Bigger
handicapper.
edge.
Yep.
All right, good stuff, guys. Hey, make sure you listen to our Wager Talk podcast. Each and every Thursday night, we're in studio. You like the videos? Well, we do an audio podcast every week. We talk a little deeper dive. We've got more time to talk about the games, and you can get multiple sports. We have guests. We have bookmakers behind the counter. Check it out each and every Thursday, the Wager Talk podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Check it out, Wager Talk Podcast. We'll be back with more here on Wager Talk TV.